Yes lads, how we doing? Welcome to the first video on my YouTube channel. It's been a long time coming, this one. You've seen me on the terrace, you've seen me on This Is Football, you've seen me out and about here, there and everywhere. I figured I might as well do a little something of my own. So here we are, first video, preview. Club football's back. We had a lovely long month without club football. We had a nice lovely month with the World Cup. Lionel Messi cementing himself as the greatest of all time at the end of it. But we're back, club football's back, as much as we might not want it to be, considering how our seasons went so far. But it's Carabao Cup action to start us off with first, against Manchester City at the Etihad. Couldn't have got a tougher tie, but the Reds never do it the easy way, do we? The Cup is an interesting one this season. I've never really been one under Jurgen Klopp to go for the Cups. Because really he's never went for them himself. When you're handing out debuts almost, should I say, to youngsters in quarterfinals, I don't really think that's you putting your all into the Cup. So if my manager's not going to put his all into the Cup, I'm not really going to put me all into the Cup. But this season it's a little bit different. We currently sit 6th in the Premier League. Title race is all but gone, and we've got one of the toughest ties we could have asked for in the Champions League against the only team to beat us last season, Real Madrid. So, it's not looking great on the two main fronts. So, what am I expecting from this season? Top 4 and a cup, an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. And the Carabao Cup, there's been a couple of big teams out already. Arsenal are out, Tottenham are out, Chelsea are out. So this is probably going to be the best chance we've got if we can get past Manchester City at the Etihad. But it's going to be an interesting team, because I do certainly think that Jurgen Klopp and his cup tactics are going to continue. I do think that Kelleher will be starting goal, for example. I don't think Alisson will be getting a nod in this. I think Quevin Kelleher will start in goal. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. Love a bit of Quevin. But you've also got the situation of right back. Is he going to go with Calvin Ramsey, or is he going to go with Trent Alexander-Arnold? Centre defensive midfield. Is he going to go with Fabinho, or is he going to stick with the youngster Bajcetic, who he's been playing all throughout these pre-season games? There's a lot of dilemmas going into this cup game for Jurgen Klopp to sort through. Is he going to take this cup seriously, or is he going to write it off? This is what it all boils down to at the end of the day. But I want us to take it seriously. Manchester City, they've been our rivals for the past 5 years, going head to head at near enough everything, and they've got the better of us most of the time. But we beat them earlier on this season, 1-0 Mo Salah, and we rode our luck at times. It was a real change from Jurgen Klopp from what we used to seeing from him. From the 4-3-3, which had been so hit and miss to start off with, he switched to a 4-4-2, and we set up in low banks to stifle and annoy City and just hit them on the counter-attack with the brilliance of Mo Salah, and it worked a treat. And I hope that Klopp tries something similar at the Etihad, because even if we don't get that goal from Salah this time, because I think City will be a little bit more cautious of our tactics after we beat them at Anfield. I think they'll be a little bit more cautious. I think they'll set up a little bit more so to limit that side. It goes to penalties at the end of the day, and our back was on pens. So I would like us to set up in a similar fashion to that. How the lineup will do, I'll get to that later on. But I would like to see something similar tactically. Manchester City though, something that I said in the summer was that Manchester City post World Cup might be struggling for players, for fitness, because they had a strong core, should I say, of their team was part of big nations that could make it far in the tournament. Manchester City had one player in the World Cup final, should I say. Same amount as Liverpool. So that went well, didn't it? So it'll be a really strong Manchester City team. I don't think Pep Guardiola is going to mess about. We know how much he loves the Carabao Cup. He's won it, is it 3 or 4 times as Manchester City manager? It's the real catalyst for his late season pushes that Manchester City often go on. Getting that cup under your belt, getting that success in February really can give that team the push that they need, as we saw last season in our quad push. So I do expect to see a really strong Manchester City team. I'm expecting to see the likes of Ederson, the likes of Laporte, Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland, Calvin Phillips, Riyad Mahrez. I'm expecting to see all of them start against us. Ilkay Gundogan, he could get a look in. We don't know about the Portuguese lot. Maybe João Cancelo and Ruben Diaz are back for them. I just don't know how strong Manchester City will go. But when they've got Erling Haaland up front, they're always a danger. They're always a danger. And without Virgil van Dijk, who I'm pretty sure won't be playing on Thursday night, we're having to rely on Joe Gomez and Joel Matip. Now, Joe Gomez did keep a clean sheet against Erling Haaland earlier on this season, and then followed up that performance with 3 errors leading to goals in 3 consecutive games. I really just think he's been inconsistent at best this season, Joe Gomez. I think we're now getting to a point in his career, he's been very unlucky with the injuries throughout it, but we're really starting to get to a point in Joe Gomez's career where we need to figure out if he's the centre-back or if he's a full-back, because he can't keep rotating between the two if he wants to fine-tune and develop his game, because he's running out of time to do that. I am expecting to see him at centre-back because we've got no one else, and I don't want to see Nat Phillips. So now, Joe Gomez, Joel Matip, centre-back partnership, best we've got, but we'll be having to rely on Joel Matip a lot, I feel. His experience, his quality to get us through these the tough times that will come in that game, the spells of pressure that Manchester City will put up on us. But we can hate them. We've got Mo Salah, who did not go to the World Cup. Darwin Núñez didn't make it past the group stage, so I'm expecting to see him on the left wing. Roberto Firmino, he's had a really good start to the season for us. I'm expecting to see him up top for us. The midfield, it's questionable. It's not been our strong point this season, and depending on how we set up, it doesn't look great. But we've got a lot of quality players, and I just want to see us give a really good account of ourselves, because I've missed Liverpool. As much as I would joke about how poor our start of the season was and how I've enjoyed the break the World Cup has given me from watching Jordan Henderson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, whoever was at right centre-back that wasn't Ibrahima Konate, Harvey Elliott, just a whole load of poor performances and questionable stuff from top to bottom to start the season off with for Liverpool. From the attack, with Darwin Núñez struggling to get really hit his stride until right before the World Cup, which was just our luck. The midfield's been a problem all season, and the defence, which people say had eyes on the World Cup, so wasn't fully focused. I just need to see the change now. I'm not necessarily after the perfect performance. I just want us to get the job done, because we need a cup this season. I'm writing the league off. I've not got much confidence in the Champions League because we have an awful record against Real Madrid under Jurgen Klopp. But you never say never with this team. The cup is where I'm at, though. The cup is where I'm at, which is a stark change from where I was at the start of this season. But I just want to see us get the job done on Thursday. It's not going to be easy away from home as well. First game back for the Man City fans. They will be up for it. As much as we can make the slightly overused jokes now about the Etihad and Manchester City not having any fans, the atmosphere will be good. It's always good when Liverpool are there. The rivalry is there now. Something always happens in these games. Something always happens, and I'm hoping this is one of the more quiet affairs, because I do back us on penalties if it does go all the way. The team that I will be putting out, I would be looking at Queevy and Kelleher in goal. Obviously people will go for Alisson, but I'm a big fan of Queevy. I really am, and I want to see us try and do everything we can to keep him around beyond this season, because he's 23, 24. He's not even Republic of Ireland's number 1. That goes to Bazunu. He's going to be thinking now in his head about becoming that Republic of Ireland number 1, about taking that next step in his career, starting regularly in the Premier League. And if we can do everything we can to convince him to stick around, I would love that, because he's such a great backup for Alisson. It's wishful thinking, because I do think he will move on, as he deserves to. He's a good enough goalkeeper to be playing in the Premier League week in, week out. But I'd like to see us do everything we can to convince him. So Queevy in goal. I'd be looking at Trent at right back. He didn't play much of the Euros, 30 minutes. And I'm hoping that we start to see just a couple of signs of the old Trent again. because to start this season off with, I think he hasn't been great. But I do think there's a certain degree of tactical unfamiliarity. I don't know what system we're trying to play. The positions that I've seen Trent pick up at times this season have been bizarre. I've seen him making strikers runs. I've seen him on the left-hand side of the pitch. I've seen him in centre mid. I've seen him almost everywhere but right back at times. So I'd just like to see us go back to basics a little bit with Trent. Put him at right back and let him do what he does best. I'm looking at Joel Matip and Joe Gomez as the centre-back pairing. Who am I going to put right and who am I going to put left centre-back? I think Joel Matip's going to have to go left centre-back. I think left centre-back requires the better ball-playing qualities, and we will lose the mazy runs that he makes. But I also think without the security of Virgil van Dijk, he probably wouldn't make them anyway. So I'm going to put Joel Matip on the left and Joe Gomez on the right, and hope that Joe Gomez's pace can help if Trent Alexander-Arnold does get caught out of position. Andy Roberts left back. One of my favourite players. He's one of my favourite players. I love Andy Roberts. I love a bit of Andy Roberts. And I think some of the criticism that he's got this season has been unwarranted. I think he really benefits from having a quality backup in Tsimikas. I think you see his game elevated when he comes back into the side after Tsimikas. And before the break, he was one of our best players. I hope he carries on where he left off in the Southampton game and the games preceding that. So Andy Roberts left back. In defensive midfield, Fabinho or Bajcetic. See, I'm going to go for a 4-4-2. I'm going to try and stick with what we've done last time out against Manchester City. The 4-4-2 worked really well at stifling them. So if we go for something similar, I think it's between Fabinho or Bajcetic. And I've been very vocal on my displeasure about Fabinho this season. I have. I've not really been impressed by a number of his performances. His overall standards fell. You know, he looks so leggy. He's always half a second late to balls. There's a lot of cause for concern with Fabinho at the minute. But I do think this is just too high profile a game, with the circumstances surrounding it as well, being the first game back, to throw Bajcetic to the Wolves. So I would go for Fabinho and Thiago together in the midfield at the base of the 4-4-2. Left mid and right mid. Now the left mid and right mid when we're playing against City, they have to do a lot of tracking back. They do. Which is why now I'm starting to doubt whether I should be going 4-4-2, because we don't really have that left hand side. I don't think this is a game for Fabio Carvalho. I know he scored against Lyon in the pre-season Dubai Cup or whatever we're going to call it, but I really don't think Fabio Carvalho is a left hand side player. And I really don't think you put Darwin Núñez there, because I think you limit where you can get, you limit his output, you limit where he can get into positions, you limit Darwin Núñez's game if he's out that deep and having to track back. So maybe instead of the 4-4-2, we stick with what we were doing right before the break the diamond. Fabinho right at the base with Thiago and Harvey Elliott. But am I going to go for Harvey Elliott? Or am I going to go for Naby Keita? Naby Keita, he divides opinion, should we say. He is one of the most annoying players we've had in the last couple of years, because whenever he hits good form, or whenever you need to rely on him, he goes down with an injury and you don't see him. And just for that reason, the fact that he hasn't played this season, he's yet to make a competitive appearance for Liverpool this season. He got injured right before Manchester United and has been out since. And he came back in the Dubai Cup and against Lyon especially, but also a little bit against AC Milan. He just looked a little bit leggy, a little bit off the pace, which is to be expected. You're just lacking that sharpness, and for that reason I'm not going to start him. I can't start him at the Etihad, not against the best team in England. So I'm going to be going for Harvey Elliott right centre mid. I like what I see from Harvey Elliott. I'm a big fan of the kid. I don't think his future is at central midfield, but I think when we've put him in central midfield this season, he's done a job for us, and I can't knock him for his performances. He's offered us some really good attacking impetus, but overall tactically that has probably hurt us, which is something I'll get onto in another video, because it's something that needs to be pointed out. But then you get to your front three, and I think with the injury to Luis Diaz setting him back till March, obviously Diogo Jota, we're not going to see him till February. There is only three options: Darwin Núñez, Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino. And I'll be playing Salah and Núñez as strikers not as wide players, because I think you need to get Salah and Núñez in the box. You need to get them onto the centre-backs. You need to get them causing panic at them centre-backs. Firmino is the one that's... Because I know I said Fabio Carvalho is a left-sided player, and he isn't. But I do see Fabio Carvalho as a fantastic 10. And he is yet to play there for me this season. Don't think we've seen it. I think we might have saw him there for a little bit against Bournemouth and he scored. The kid's a natural 10. He played there for Fulham last season as that 10. He was fantastic for Fulham. He won Young Player of the Year. It's the reason we signed him. He was a fantastic 10 and we've not utilised him properly yet. This is going to be my curveball. I'm expecting to see Firmino, but if you were to put Fabio Carvalho in at the 10 with Núñez and Salah up top, I'd really be interested to see how that works. I'd be interested to see the positions that Carvalho picks up, because I don't think in this diamond against Manchester City necessarily you're going to be picking through their midfield. I think it'll be a lot of quick, snappy counter-attacks, long balls down the line, and that's where I want my number 10, making them great last-man, shadow striker-esque runs into the box late to get on the end of cutbacks. Roberto Firmino can do that. I'm not knocking Roberto Firmino. He's been our best player this season, I would say, behind Alisson. He's really, revitalised what looked to be a stagnating Liverpool career, right in a contract year. He's going to earn himself a new contract, and he's so important. The classic thing with Liverpool is when Roberto Firmino plays well, Liverpool play well. But I would just like to see Fabio Carvalho in the 10. I really would. I really think there's something there in that player. And I think with this new Firmino contract, you've got the perfect mentor there for the kid. You've got the perfect mentor. Anything that he could need to learn about this role, he can learn it off someone who's done it at the very top level for 7 years for this football club. So I'd go Fabio Carvalho as the 10, with Núñez and with Salah up front. I'm not sure how Manchester City are going to line up. It's going to be strong, but you can never predict what Pep Guardiola is going to do. The only thing I will say is he's had less players to work with, so I'm expecting to see something very similar to what we saw last time out against us, because he won't have had the players with him to really change the system unless he's going to start a lot of people who didn't go to the World Cup. But yeah, score prediction is going to be a hard one because you can never predict these Manchester City-Liverpool games. They're really tight games. They're really cagey affairs because both teams know the other can hurt them. I'm going to go, though, for a 1-1 draw with Liverpool getting across the line on penalties. I don't think our defence is good enough to keep them out. I really don't know without Van Dijk, and with Alisson going to be on the bench for Queeveen. I do think that Erling Haaland or Riyad Mahrez or Kevin De Bruyne, God, the quality they've got, I think one of them will pop up with a goal. But I do think we can hurt them, and I think Darwin Núñez might score. I think the chaos that man brings to the Liverpool team, it's so hard to deal with as a defender, that I do think he makes a really big impact against Manchester City because they don't know what to expect from him. I mean, he came on against them in the 1-0 for, 10-15 minutes, and it was one of the maddest cameos I think I may have ever seen from a Liverpool player. He was brilliant, and at the same time he was shocking, and that's what I almost love about Núñez. The chaos that he brings, he's always a threat, and I do think that he scores for us on his return to a Liverpool shirt after the World Cup. And then on penalties, I just think that we've got the players there. You'll be bringing Fabinho on. I mean, if we're looking at our penalty takers, you've got Salah, Thiago, Fabinho, Trent, Núñez. That's a really solid 5. You've got Harvey Elliott who you can turn to as well, who scored all his penalties. Naby Keita, I know he missed his one in the Dubai Cup, but he's also scored all his for us. Roberto Firmino, I hate Roberto Firmino's penalty technique, but he knows how to put it in the back of the net. You've got a lot of good penalty takers in this Liverpool squad that are available, and when you've got Queeveen Keller in goal, one of the best keepers I've seen at saving penalties, you've always got a shot. So I do think that Liverpool get over the line in penalties, and it's not a must-win. It's not a must-win. If we do go out the Carabao Cup, I'm not going to sit there and, head in hands, season's over, write it off, be heartbroken beyond repair, should I say. But I will be disappointed because I've had to curtail my expectations to a cup. I can't expect us to challenge for the title this season when we're 6th. I can't expect us to challenge for the Champions League when we've drawn Real Madrid and we have these issues as a squad which I don't know are going to be addressed in January or not. So I've had to curtail my expectations to a cup, and I do see the Carabao Cup, with the way the draws are shaped up, with the teams that have went out, that is our best chance. I'd love to retain a cup this season. I can't remember the last time Liverpool retained the cup. That'd be a really good thing to do for this team, retain the cup. And if we can get past the line against Manchester City on Thursday, I would make us the favourites to do it. So that's it. Liverpool Carabao Cup preview done, the first one. I'll be back the day after for the day after dissection. Liverpool, Manchester City. Hopefully I'm talking about a win and not a defeat. But follow the socials. Not very good at this plugging stuff, but I'll give it a go. Follow the socials. Twitter's down below. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell notification so you're getting notified whenever I'm posting a new video on the channel. Catch me on the terrace. You can catch me on This Is Football. You can catch me out and about. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. That's where you'll find out where I'm going live that day. And that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. In a bit, everyone.